Hi, this is James Gardner, the CineTechGeek, and behind me is a product from a company called Atomos at the NAB 2016 show. Now this is a very interesting product because, as you know, I've been doing a lot of coverage of high dynamic range, and they have this new field recorder. It's very well known, Atomos, for doing this, but they've introduced a number of high dynamic range features to this unit. And as I've been a very big proponent of learning and getting into high dynamic range, you have to learn it before, walk before you can run. This is most likely one of the best products currently on the market to help you do that. It has a number of features that allow it as a field recorder to help you do things like make sure that the highlights and other aspects of doing a recording of high dynamic range production is in the scene. To me, it's sort of like a little DIT station built into your field recorder, so you can do some of the similar aspects and similar checks that you might have a DIT doing behind you when you're doing your production. So that's a really good if you're a run and gun and doing all the production yourself. And then if you are doing that, also you're likely going into the post yourself too and maybe doing the grading. And this is where this little monitor really comes into its own. You wouldn't call it a grade 1 monitor per se, but it does allow you, with its 1000 to 1500 nit display and the capability of doing ST2084 and hybrid log gammers probably coming along when it actually does get released into the screen by SDI or HDMI. You've got a tool which today, or when it comes in the next few months, allow you to have a look at how you're doing your high dynamic range, how it's coming up in the highlights and in the midtones, etc., in the way that those curves and the new way of working in those color gamuts and EOTFs will work with you. So this is a very cheap way to get into that. You could look at buying a Sony $42,000 grade 1 monitor, and you probably will down the track. But you have to walk before you can run, and this is a great way to start walking and getting to understand how high dynamic range is going to affect you and your color grading techniques, and how you actually record and film your content to take most advantage of high dynamic range. And let's just say a lot of the videos, if you watch them through my plethora of videos that I've made this year, you will hear from a lot of the big color graders and the studios that you have to take more care and feed back a lot more information into your acquisition people who are recording on their cameras, the lighting, etc., to ensure that you get the best possible result in your high dynamic range deliverable. So yes, do keep an eye on this product with its capabilities. Just quickly, so I can show you in this, so you can put it into a high dynamic range mode, and in here you can actually adjust. You can see how it's writing and taking the image up and down, gives you an idea of what highlights you are capturing and making sure that the roll-offs and how they are going to look, especially when you get into your grade, are in this realm or in looking the way that you would want them to look as a DOP when you're doing the acquisition. So that's the main key feature of it today. But again, like I said, using it as a training field for putting high dynamic range data into it, getting a result. Today they had, for example, the screen, one of these, sitting on top of a Dolby high dynamic range screen. You can really see how the similar characteristics are there. Now, if we're going to talk about that a little bit more, the questions about the color primaries and other aspects that a color grader would care about, those are still in development. It's still not completely released, and those are still yet to be ratified. And so keep an eye on Atomos and call them if you want to find out more about that later on in a month or so, when that sort of thing is more settled. But anyway, that's James Gardner at the Atomos booth for NAB 2016. Bye for now.